Well, hey there, Lusketiers. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Levi.
My name is Jennie.
And we are so glad that you have clicked on today.
Yeah.
Have you nothing else to do? What are you doing here? No, I'm just kidding. Just like being mean.
God.
Why are you here? We have no value to add you. I'm kidding.
We do.
Actually really
Today we do.
No, today and always.
Today and always. I mean, there's some value to most things we do.
Look, let me tell you something. There's lots of different places you could be going to for your time to be spent. You know, we're thankful you'd come hang out with us, and we're excited to have our friend Scott Harrison back on the podcast. Scott is, in just a minute, a visionary. He thinks outside the box. He thinks 10 steps ahead, and he's literally trying to end the problem of people in the world not having clean drinking water. How many people can say that?
So cool.
And he's invited us all to go with him on that journey.
Yeah.
And I believe he'll do it. I mean, he's already brought water to 29 different countries. He's raised $740 million in 16 years.
No big
and
deal.
Successfully has, when these 137,000 water projects are done, there will be 17.4 million people with clean water. We've got to participate in a few of those for our church community, and many of you Lusketiers have participated in some of our year-end grants. So we've been out to do just that. This all has brought Scott to a place on the under 40 list of Forbes Impact, Fast Company's 100 most creative people in business. He was number 10, by the way, on that list. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He's a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, and he's a friend of ours. Yeah. And this is the now third time. Is that right? He's been on our podcast. Am I missing that? I think it's the third time he's been on Hits Luskos. Normally that's on my little sheet here.
I think so.
But I don't see that
Definitely more than once.
I think it's third. But he's so dang smart and fun. And every time I'm talking to him, I'm learning so many things.
Just so inspiring. We are celebrating our church, Fresh Life's birthday. It's coming up 17. Wow.
17 years of Fresh Life.
Also,
on the
just
14th.
wanted to...
We have another episode before then. Don't we? No, this week is the 14th. Today's the 10th. Okay. So the 14th episode of January is when we started our church. Yeah. Wow.
So that's special.
That's fun. Are we also celebrating Jennie Lusko's birthday tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Jennie, your birthday's tomorrow. Everybody give Jennie some love. If you love Jennie, if you love her like I love her, no one does. But if you love her, put a comment on this YouTube, go to her social media, tell her happy birthday, or mine, because I'm going to post about her. A really, really good post.
Wow, you're so good at posting. I'm so bad at posting.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Also, happy third birthday to Last Supper on the Moon.
That's fun.
We share a birthday.
It's a big week of birthdays.
I know.
Because I did release Last Supper on the Moon on your birthday, and then for your birthday, I gave you a signed copy. What a gift.
It was very kind.
What a guy.
It was a good letter in
what a guy I am.
mine. You didn't just sign your name.
I wrote, "Hey Toots, happy birthday, Toots." Yeah, it was weird. I kept calling you because I don't even call you Toots.
No, you don't.
I didn't write that.
No, you didn't. Juniper.
I wrote something real sweet. Yeah, and we have a price jump coming at the end of this month. We do want to point out for Movement Conference, if you and your family are looking to come, or your student group's looking to come to Montana in July for our annual student conference that's in a rodeo arena where you camp and then praise God and see the stars and asteroids shoot past your eyes at 4 a.m. and then Chad Veach preaches a great sermon and KB's rapping and there's incredible music and food.
Just memories to be made and God speaking. And I just want to say, if you haven't signed up, you got to. If you're still kind of thinking about it, I just want to encourage you. Do it.
Hey there. This is Movement Conference. Sign up. You can go to mvmnt24.com. That's mvmnt24.com for all information. Put together a group of students. If you have a teenager, they just get some of their friends and come on out. Yeah. Sleep in a tent for Jesus. It's awesome.
For Jesus.
And then we also hear of families planning on, other stuff, like either a mission trip they'll do on the way at an Indian reservation or charities, or they'll do a trip to Glacier on the front or back end. So lots of different things to do.
Yeah.
And we'd love to have you come join us.
Yeah.
But I have to point out before the episode begins, because you're going to go, wow, Scott mentioned this and this and this. The show notes for this episode are going to have all the links to all the things he mentions. There's
Very
lots of
long show
great
note,
recommendations.
show book.
So either the YouTube description or there on Access More, when you can click the little thing, we're going to put all the links in there. You can get all the references that he makes. But please do enjoy our conversation with our friend,
Scott Harrison.
.com.
Da-da.
Scott, welcome back to Hey, It's the Luskos. You are
What's going on?
You're beautiful. You're a good man. We're glad to have you on.
It's nice to be back.
It's been.
I
a
wish
year,
it was in person.
I know.
honestly. Yeah,
Next
if
time.
you would just
Out
quit
there
coming to
where you
Montana
live.
while we're gone, we could do that.
That was pretty random.
He said, "The Luskos are away. I shall come." Scott, tell us about this new baby. Come on, bro.
Congratulations.
You know, my 9-year-old gets really angry if I say that this was a surprise or if I use the word oops, or I think you see where we're going.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good. You've had a healthy gap.
Let's just say I've had a healthy gap and I'm almost 50 and my wife is 40 and we have an 8-week-old at home.
Yeah.
It all starts
perfect time.
over.
The perfect
It
time.
all starts again.
Do
Wow.
you feel like you are in some ways now more of a grandparent to this child than you are a dad?
I mean, I don't have much except gray hair these days.
That is exactly what we went through with Lennox, because we had that first wave, 4 girls, and then several year break, 5
years.
5 years off. And then same thing, like a providential surprise from God baby in
Yeah.
Lennox. And we had gotten rid of all of our baby gear. And so we were literally starting over, but more tired.
More tired. I mean, I'd say, you know, you're just a little more pragmatic about how to make it work now.
Yeah.
So I will sleep in a separate room, do morning and nights with the kids sometimes. Vic will hand me a baby at 7:30 and sleep, you know, catch up on sleep.
Hmm.
And then I'll be like, all right, I'll take the baby all night if you pump, and then she'll get 11 hours of sleep. So you're a little more orchestrated
Totally.
and just knowing how you can survive with kids and packing lunches in the morning and baseball and gymnastics in the afternoon. And I think as you get older, you really need your sleep. I mean, I remember being able in my 30s, you know, 20s and 30s to survive on 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. I mean, now I absolutely cannot survive on 5 to 6 hours a day. Just kind of crash.
Yeah.
So you're just communicating a little more, I guess. And how much sleep did you get? And, you know, I've got the Whoop. She has the Oura ring. You know?
That's awesome. Well, and in your marriage, like you know each other better, you know, like what each other needs and better at communicating. And I could see how that would be awesome.
And sleep is a real need.
And how many hours
I don't
of
remember
sleep-
that.
How many hours of sleep do you need now?
I need 7.
Mm.
I need 7.
Like on the nose.
I mean, last night I got 6:06.
Yeah.
And I felt it today. You know, I was missing the hour.
How much of that do you think comes from your body, and how much of it do you think comes from a dependence on your Whoop? Because I don't know, like I went through a Whoop phase, I went through an Oura phase. I'm currently doing the Garmin thing, and I feel like sometimes I'm like trying to decide how tired I am, but then the number or whatever, my sleep score kind of makes me feel more tired maybe than I am.
First of all, the Garmin is like wearing a house on your wrist. I mean,
Oh my
that is
gosh.
that's like, I don't know. It's like a new asset class. Those things are so big and heavy.
I don't have anything that like tracks anything that I do. I don't wear my Apple Watch, but whenever Levi tells me like, oh, my watch says, man, you slept horrible last night.
Well, and the Garmin,
I feel shame
no,
for
it's true.
him.
The Garmin is more negative than any of them, because the Garmin will not only
I
tell you
agree.
like this, it'll say you may be less creative and energetic today. And you're like, wow, it's a prophecy over my day. I just feel like I'm living under this darkness, this cloud of evil words that have been spoken over me.
I think I can be honest with this group. You know, those people that know my background knew I went pretty hard for 10 years and I had all the vices. The only thing I continue to like, I shed them all, but it's craft beer and sometimes wine. And now that I live in Tennessee, you know, I've added kind of nice whiskey to that.
You're on the Kentucky Trail. Yeah.
I wear the Whoop to drink less. It's that simple. Because drink so affects sleep at my age that, your heart rate variability plummets, your resting heart rate grows up. And it's a really nice check on, oh, that was too extra last night, and look what it did to my sleep.
Right.
Well, look how I feel in the morning. Let me take the night off and get some good sleep. And it is unbelievably reliable. I know exactly based on, maybe how many craft beers or how late the night went. I could almost write my heart rate variability and heart rate and down REM sleep, down SWS sleep, more wake events. So for me, I've found it's helpful because it kind of keeps, listen, I'm an Enneagram 8 with a 7 wing. I want to be a 7. I think of myself as a 7. And, sometimes we can enjoy life a little too much.
Right.
No, do you find it bothers you?
Check.
Looking, I think the other thing about the Whoop, and of course we're not sponsored by any of these products, so we're just talking freely.
No, I pay. I feel like I pay them too much money.
Yeah.
We pay them.
The monthly adds up, right?
Does it bother you not having?
I do have it on me. I lost a battery pack the other day. It was like $80. I went on eBay. I'm like, somebody definitely is selling a battery pack for $20, and I did find someone.
Okay, so that's a good conversation.
Really
the battery pack for the Whoop is at least replaceable. The Oura, has Vic ever lost her Oura charger?
No, it's that little thing that you drop the ring on, right? Yeah.
And it's sized to your Oura.
Oh, no.
So it's not like you can just go get one. You have to get one at size 6.5 for your left ring. It's a problem.
So you can't really be
it's not a problem for them
and have an Oura.
That's how I stopped wearing my Oura. I wore the Whoop until I was like, oh, I hate how it looks. I just stopped liking how it looked.
Listen, they make the boxers for the Whoop now. You slide in a tiny little boxer. I have them. They have sport boxers. So this thing comes off. This is the sensor, this piece. Yeah. And then this slides into a little waistband that they make in a boxer. And that's it. You don't even feel it.
And it can track your sleep while you're doing that?
Yeah. The battery lasts 4 days. So, wow. The boxers aren't cheap either.
Whoop boxers.
Wow.
Whoop's gotten better since I left
they have
them.
Lots of stuff. They have.
When I abandoned Whoop, it was just this like very techie looking wristband, and now they have underwear.
You asked whether it makes me feel bad. No, if I wake up with like 22% recovery, it makes me want to work harder and be in the green the next day. So it helps me.
So you don't live in the shame of that day.
It doesn't ruin my day. I just think differently about that evening. I'll leave it there.
Got it. That's awesome.
I think
that's a difference in
you
personalities.
You got some Enneagram 3 in you, because that's like very much like, did I win? I'm picky with underwear though, man. I feel like, are they good underwear? Do you like them?
Yeah. They're like performance. Look, it's a real athletic culture. I mean, these people are all doing CrossFit and
jujitsu.
I will say it's so smart. I played pickleball the other day, and it popped up. I typically look at the app once a day, just in the morning, and it kind of sent me a message that it logged pickleball.
Stop. Without you telling him you played it?
Yeah. And then I was playing roller hockey with my son and his friends, and it said, you've been playing street hockey.
No.
Not ice hockey, street hockey. So I think the thing has gotten pretty dialed.
Oh,
well, if you think about it, they have everybody that's told them I've played street hockey, and then the heart pattern has to follow some sort of a algorithm or whatever, right?
Or even the way that it moves, might be tracking kind of mini movements. I don't know how it works. Anyway,
that is awesome.
I'm sure nobody wants to hear about this.
No, I think it's interesting.
This is very interesting.
Whether the Luskos are still on the train or not, I am on the train.
It is a good business. It's a subscription business. So they can, I think they give away the Whoop at a loss, at probably a significant loss for the hardware, at least in the early days. And then the subscription fees, make up for that. So, maybe it's a 6-month payback or a 8-month payback. And then, if they do a good job with the product, then you're hooked.
Very good. You had a Whoop for a minute. It's gone now. I did. When did you stop? When did you get off the train?
I don't know. I'm usually on the train I think I was on that train for maybe a year.
Yeah.
And then you got me my Apple Watch when I ran the half marathon. And now I've been trying to charge it, but it doesn't charge. And so I always forget, and then I just don't.
So is it still sitting on the charger somewhere? It probably just needs to be hard reset or something? Yeah. You've never told me this. Why did Vic go Oura? Do you know?
She's much more aesthetic.
Okay,
I think, and just doesn't like the way any of the watches look. And she doesn't wear watches.
I feel like they really did.
She doesn't like the ring, though. She's not a reliable, Oura ring user.
She's like Jennie?
2 out of 7 days, where's the ring? Where's the charger?
Oh, gosh. Yes.
The Oura, I feel like
it
did
makes
a better
me doubt
job of
the recurring subscription.
I see. Yeah, but I feel like Oura did a good job with culture, like getting the right influencers kind of on it. They got I feel like they got the NBA, but they also got like stylish people. Like I feel like they kind of did a good job getting that all kind of going, which is interesting.
Can we talk about Vuori for a second? Do you guys know this brand?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
Vuori.
I love Vuori.
I don't think my kids are going to college because of Jennie's love for Vuori.
Okay,
You will love it too.
I mean, I spent 26 years in Manhattan, so it was all Lululemon culture. And then I actually got invited to a benefit down here in Nashville at a place called Troubadour. I think it was Chris Tomlin's charity for others or something. I didn't go because I was out of town, but then they gave me the gift bag, which was the performance joggers from Vuori. And I think it was a shirt. And, it was like, I think it was like $400 of swag. I'd never heard of the brand before. Put these pants on, and like, where have they been all my life?
Seriously.
So it's the softest clothing that exists.
For my exec team. I started buying them for exec. Like, I know it's weird. I was my head of IT a couple weeks ago, and he sends me craft beer from Vermont from this very hard to get beer, Heady Topper for those who are in the East Coast. So he goes to the brewery, and then he goes to UPS, and 4 packs of like liquid gold turns up. So I was like, well, what do I get this guy back? So I bought him, the pants. So I gift these pants to people. Anyway, so I liked it so much that I said, well, I need to get to meet, the founder of Vuori. And I did a call with him. He was very kind to pick up, and his parents were in water. So it was something interesting there. And then I kind of give it to the team, and he gives it to his team. And then I will say last week, I'm just opening up my email, and Vuori emails me about a partnership with Chairty Water.
Stop.
And somehow our teams made something awesome. So now we have a Chairty Water collaboration with Vuori, and they're on board and helping people get water.
Okay, so can people buy a Vuori piece with the Chairty Water logo on it, or what?
I actually don't remember the details. I just looked at the logo and the branding.
That's incredible.
But hang on. Well, I don't know if it's a limited collection, or I think it was a donation on a day. It says, help Vuori donate 22 million liters of clean water. They're doing a big challenge. Oh, they're doing a Strava challenge. Very cool. Okay.
Wow.
They are.
That's so cool.
There's 47,754 participants right now in the Chairty Water Vuori Strava challenge. So
that's awesome.
Love that.
So good. So here's the thing about Vuori. Their stuff is so soft. There's not softer shirts and softer pants out there.
Honestly.
But it doesn't look as techy as like Lulu stuff looks. I feel like Lululemon has more of a there's a certain thing about it, whereas Vuori just looks so leisure and surfy and kind of fun.
This is funny. You should just say this again. People are listening like thinking we're getting paid. I have never been paid to endorse a brand in the history of my life. I know there are, actually that's not true. Budweiser, many, many years ago when I was in the nightclub business.
Wow.
Budweiser was doing it back then. They used to pay $2,000 a month for me to drink Budweiser in public, but this was 30 some years ago. But anyway, we are not endorsed by any of these brands.
No.
This is, I guess, things we love. Things we love.
I think we all become evangelists for what we actually like and brings value to our life.
True.
Right? But if anyone from Vuori is listening, no, it is good stuff. It is soft, and they have conquered the world. It is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. And
I think for people building a brand, though, there's a little bit of a lesson here. I mean, Chairty Water raised close to $500 million with zero marketing budget. It was all word of mouth. And somebody would it would come across a video, or they would meet somebody, or somebody would donate their birthday, and they would kind of come in touch with the brand. We weren't buying billboards. We weren't, buying online ads. There was no TV advertising. It was just all of these mini word of mouth moments that then led to, $500 million or so in impact and people with clean water. So,
I guess
if you make a great product and you find product market fit, you get people talking about you for 20 minutes on a podcast that they weren't planning on talking about.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. And hopefully that can become that way with everything we're passionate about, with God, with our churches, with causes that mean something to us. Just a realization of that power of word of mouth and getting that word on the street in that way. How have you managed, surely, the peaks and troughs of that, though, Scott? You know what I mean? Because like when you're hot, it's great, but then it's like, well, you're not, it's not, that doesn't go on forever in that way. So how do you kind of navigate through the life cycle of it's on everyone's mouth, it's kind of not, and kind of keeping and harnessing momentum in the midst of the bell curves kind of rising and falling?
Yeah, if you look at our growth over 17 years, there are a couple significant S curves. So, you've got a season of growth, and then there's often a season of decline. And what got you to that level of growth doesn't work anymore. I'll give you an example. Our first 8 years, we were growing like crazy, really around the idea of people donating their birthdays to Chairty Water or fundraising for Chairty Water. So we built a website called mycharitywater.org before GoFundMe was even an idea or was incorporated, before Facebook causes, before Classy or CrowdRise. And we raised over $100 million as people would donate their 19th birthday or their 31st birthday or their 7th birthday. Or, they would go run a marathon for Chairty Water. They'd walk across America, or they'd have a fear of heights and they would skydive for Chairty Water. They would kind of use their
Jennie
creativity.
did a Chairty Water spin class and gave her birthday away for her birthday. Everyone who came to the Chairty class bike ride that year, it's the exact same thing. So we were a part of that era.
Really well.
Yeah.
That worked really well. And then the idea caught on, and it became ubiquitous, and it became a commodity. And I'll never forget the day when Heifer International. Now, Heifer, known for their goat and sheep catalogs, right? You could go buy a goat with Heifer, and they did a Christmas catalog every year. They asked me to donate my birthday to Heifer.
Stop.
And I realized, all right, we no longer have that early mover advantage. And then this just became kind of a product for many charities. Hey, go donate your birthday for our cause, or go fundraise for our cause. So we had a down year in our 9th year, and then, then you start asking questions. I mean, if you're still committed to your mission and your vision, and you believe that there is work still left to be done, then you say, how do we reinvent ourselves? And what might drive the next phase of growth? And for us, it was the pivot to subscription, or the pivot to monthly giving. And I was very fortunate. I was with the founder of Spotify in the back of a Land Rover in Ethiopia. I was taking him out to see a well that he had funded for his daughter. And I remember him kind of commenting on our business model, and just how bad it sucked. He's like, wait a minute. So you raise all this money, and then January 1, the ticker rolls back to 0. You have to go raise all that money again, and then you have to go figure out how to raise more money and grow. He said, well, I just acquire a Spotify member and they stay for life. I mean, that's the idea, right? They would pay me $10 a month for the rest of their life, as long as I continue to deliver content and podcasts and music to them, and, stuff I haven't even invented yet. So, I almost remember the pity was, a driving factor. He says, well, why haven't you done a subscription program? And I said, because I don't really know what I would offer people. What could I give them if they gave us a donation every month? And the famous subscription programs out there was, World Vision and Compassion. And you would sponsor a child. and you would feel a direct connection to a child, and the child would write you letters, and the child would grow up with you. And we just never had that. I mean, we were funding 14 different water technologies and a bunch of different water projects across 29 different countries. And he said, well, why don't you just do it anyway? I mean, just tell people, look, 100% of whatever they give every month will go directly to help people get water. And then just tell them stories every month of impact, and tell them stories of the people they've helped. And he turned out to be right. And that helped us triple the size of the organization in the next few years. And
that was
a
the
huge
spring
kind of growth curve.
That was the spring, correct? Yep.
Yep. And now it's interesting. Now we haven't dipped down, but we're at a plateau. We've had a couple years that, we're punching really high, but I'm working now on this next big idea, which I think can kind of drive the next wave of growth. And, by the way, you could be wrong at any of these moments.
Right.
And you can place the wrong bet, or you can actually have the right bet in the wrong timing. But you have to continue to, question and innovate and try to stay agile.
Yeah.
This is such a good conversation because it's germane to everything. Nothing's up and to the right forever. Everything comes in. And so I just wanted to ask, in those seasons where you are kind of at a place of reinvention, what darkness do you have to battle through personally? What kind of what's the self-talk and what's the challenge of that? Is there ever, asking for a friend here, have I taken this as far as I can? Is it, you know what I mean? Am I down at the ceiling on this? Like, how do you deal with those demons?
It's a great question. I think the answer has changed over time. So I've been doing this 17 plus years now. The first phase of down years, or maybe failure or decline, was all about identity and loss. And I am the numbers. I am, I must be doing something terribly wrong if we didn't grow like we have grown for the previous 8 years. Right. Therefore, not only have I failed my organization, I've failed millions of people who are not going to get clean water because somehow I couldn't repeat 8 years of success into the 9th year.
Yeah.
I'm much more sanguine now in year 17. And Chairty Water is so much more detached from my identity. I mean, I am a, key player that is showing up with the rest of the team and trying to bring, the best of my time and my talent and focus and hopefully, strategic effort to deliver the most value. But, there are a lot of factors out there. I mean, during COVID, people weren't very interested in giving internationally when it felt like their own communities were in need. So we then printed a couple $1 trillion. So COVID turned out to be fine for charities. But,
wow.
I think we were a little, we would have been less hard on ourselves, and we'd say, let's weather the storm. Let's continue staying the course and figuring out where areas of opportunity. I remember Angela Ahrens, who sits on my board, led Burberry over a period of years to something like 20x growth, or she didn't like 5x or 10x, she like 20x the company, and she would kind of save resources for moments when she could have a competitive advantage and then outspend everybody or be first out of the gate. So I think, you can have the pity party and say, oh, nobody wants to give to clean water causes overseas because, COVID is happening. Or you could, what we wound up doing is we actually really pivoted our messaging in the back half of the year and said, hey, y'all washing your hands. right? Washing the hands of your kids back when we thought that was actually important, and rubbing down our Amazon boxes, and
Oh my gosh.
going to the grocery store. We had like a second fridge where we would leave the groceries out there for a day. Stupid stuff we did back then. But,
I know.
But anyway, we just kind of changed our messaging and said, hey, clean water is the first line of defense for not just what we were being told about COVID, but so many other diseases. And as you are frantically washing your hands 10 times a day and washing all your boxes down, 10% of the world doesn't have the opportunity to do this.
At all of any kind of water. Yeah, right.
So I think rather than feel sorry for ourselves, we just said, if anything, maybe a global pandemic could help raise your awareness of the need for water or how water impacts health. Because now we're all thinking about our health and the health of our families in a more acute way. Well, there are hundreds of millions of moms out there right now who are giving their kids death in a potential death from the river that they just got brown viscous water from, and it doesn't need to be that way. So as you continue to serve your local community, as you look out for your food bank or those who lost their jobs around you, can you also continue to look out for those who are suffering around the world needlessly, who don't have the most basic need for human life met, right? It all starts with water. The most essential building block for health is water.
Yeah.
So, and then I think we managed to reach a lot of people with that messaging, or maybe people who would have said, I'm going to take a pause from giving to charity water. We're able to see the issue that they had supported for many years in a new light, and it's continuing to be relevant during a global pandemic.
Very good. How important is it to be in the discovery and research and really even development phase of a new initiative or a new reinvention of yourself before you've begun to plateau? Because I think we all start scrambling the jets when we start to see things diminishing, like, oh shoot, we need to. But I mean, it's almost like those things need to have already been in the works and in the pipeline before you've kind of stalled on growth, right?
I think the greatest companies or the greatest endeavors or nonprofits are constantly taking risks. They're constantly dissatisfied. Even in periods of growth, it's not enough growth. It's not enough impact. So I would say innovation for us is a muscle that is, when it's working right, it's always firing, in the good times and in the bad times and in the seasons of plateau. That said, you've limited resources. So you have to place these bets. I remember being so inspired. I saw the 27-year stock chart of Amazon a couple of years ago. And, the chart looks like a flat line for 20 years, and then it hockey sticks up. And the tweet went something like this. It said, had Jeff Bezos quit in year 20, he would have left 93% of the value unrealized. In the first 2 decades of Amazon, 7% of the company's value was created. As Amazon's grown, that number may even be less than 7% now. And y'all remember the Fire Phone, right? I mean, they made some bets that were disasters.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
But then the Kindle worked. And Amazon Web Services. I mean, imagine trying to sell, server farms as a growth, and it turned out to be one of the most lucrative things they ever did. So I think they're probably still out there, continuing to bet with robotics, and I mean, I think they want to sell everyone everything as fast as possible, right? So I think that innovation muscle needs to continually be going, and then you need to take risks, and not everything pays out.
True.
Yeah. What are some of your
We've
favorite?
done a bunch of stuff.
What are some of your favorite failures, Scott?
I will say we've been pretty fortunate. I think we test first, and see that there's heat. I remember going to Catalyst many years ago. Andy Stanley said something like, don't fight it, fund it. Like go and find those things that are working, and then put more resources behind them. So we don't make the big bet, although we're actually about to make one. We typically test things and see that there's a little bit of heat or that there's some, there's a little bit of kindling before really trying to stoke the fire. So I can't think of any, big losses. I'll tell you one. This September, we said, hey, I wonder if there's any life in the fundraising game. And we used to do this thing called the September campaign, where we would raise at peak, $1.5 million in the month, maybe even $2 million just in the month of September. So we said, let's just see if we can go reinvigorate. Let's go back to our roots. Who wants to fundraise for Chairty Water? And we said, let's make this even better. We'll take you to Africa if you're one of our top fundraisers. You can come to our gala in New York City. I think we raised like $180,000 in the whole month. Like 10% of.
Wow.
And I remember writing our head of marketing, and I said, the numbers were disastrous. Now, that said, that month, the spring did $2 million.
Right.
As all these people were giving $10, $20, $30, $40 a month.
Right.
So the thing that we had built to kind of replace it was doing that not just in September, but in October and in November and in December and in January. This reliable community of givers who were just showing up each and every month, for clean water. And I remember writing my head of marketing, and I'm like, I'm really glad we did that because at least now we know. We have really put the nail in the coffin. This is not where we should be spending our creative energy. This is not the ask we should be making of our community any longer in year 17. We didn't bet the whole year on fundraising. We bet a month. And we won't do it again.
Very good.
Wow.
Okay, so there's a lot of application we can all make to our lives from some of these kind of thoughts. I wanted to shift gears a little bit here and talk about, now that you've got a few years under your belt in Tennessee, life in the South, remote work still. Everything you're hearing about that all the time, companies wanting to get away from that, go back to it. How is that all working with Chairty Water? Because you're still, a lot of people are remote, right?
We're fully remote. And I think it has surprised me how well it's worked for us. And believe me, I'm in, many of my CEO peers are, lamenting the 3-day work week, or everybody kind of has a different opinion on this. If we back up to pre-2020, well, let's say we back up to March 1st, 2020, we had about 25,000 square feet in New York. We had a gorgeous office. We had virtual reality rooms. We had life-size light boxes. We had wells connected to sensors and televisions donated by Samsung. People would walk into our office.
I walked through your office. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
They would just leave their wallet. They would say, okay, I get it. This feels like Apple headquarters, not my parents' or my grandparents' charity. I get the innovation. I get the storytelling. I get the 100% model. Take my money. That was the benefit. And while it was, just to give you kind of a sense of what it cost. And for those that don't know Chairty Water, we raise all of our overheads separately in a distinctly audited bank account from about 130 families. It's about 130 families pay for 120 staff, the flights, the office. All this was paid for separately so that 100% of all donations from the public from day one have always gone to fund these water projects, which we then prove.
So the super slick offices are not funded by the Spring or anybody who gave up their birthdays for Chairty Water at all.
You can't go on our website and find a single way to donate through any page to overhead. It's 130 families, and
so that's your salary. That's everyone who works.
120 salaries. 120 salaries. Flights. The Epson toner, which is far too expensive than it should be, right? Insurance to phone bills and all that. And that's been the model since day one. And I'm always looking for more families who want to be a part of that. But as of today, it's about 129 families who show up in that way. So, you would walk into our office and we would hand you a card and we'd say, thank you to Samsung for every gorgeous high def thank you to Steelcase for the gorgeous furniture, going to say. Thank you to the electricians who donated their time. And thank you to these donors for making this, what would have been a multi-million-dollar headquarters build possible. So that was the upside. The downside is, on a nonprofit salary, people had to live in the most expensive city in the United States or commute into. So I would have execs that were doing 2.5 hours each way on the train.
Gosh.
Because they were the single provider for their family and they had kids. They couldn't live even within a 2-hour radius of the city on an exec salary. So that was the downside. And when we went fully remote, the timing was great. COVID happened. Our 5-year lease was up with an increase. And we just kind of walked away from the space and said, let's try this. Our team immediately scattered to 29 states.
Wow.
God.
So it turns out if you don't force people to live and work in the most expensive city in Manhattan, they don't.
Yeah.
And then our ability to recruit, and I would say specifically our ability to recruit diverse talent was exponentially improved.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you just an example. Last year, we hired 36 people, and we had 13,500 full applicants for those 36 jobs.
Gosh.
A couple weeks ago, we posted a job for a director of marketing. We got 1,000 applicants in 7 days because they could work anywhere. So you can live in Des Moines,
right,
and work at Chairty, or you can live in Orlando, you can live in Whitefish, right? You Kalispell, like you can live anywhere. And then we're getting the whole organization together twice a year. So we just had a big offsite a couple weeks ago in the Catskills. We've got over 100 people there, and that's both inspiring to be with your coworkers who have come in from Zimbabwe or London or Omaha, Nebraska. And then you're also getting a whole lot of work done in person. So we're doing that at least twice a year. And then departments are getting together in the off quarters. So if it works well, you're with your team every couple months, but then you have a lot more autonomy, and parents can pick up their kids from school at 3:30 and arrange their Zoom calls around school pickup.
Right.
If that's important to them to do that 5 days a week, because they don't have to commute back to where their kids go to school an hour away.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
incredible.
And
So it's really worked for us.
Yeah.
We had 2 record revenue years at Charity Water, fully remote.
Wow. It's awesome.
Love
and that
it.
time is all kind of culture when you're together for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Team building, culture.
And outside of those,
just
outside
reminding
of those times
everybody
together,
how,
do you do that? Oh, so sorry.
So then teams get together. So I'm getting together with the execs a lot more frequently. So the leadership teams would have different rhythms and cadences that would be a little more, but we'll fly into Park City where one of our execs is, and we'll do 3 days there. Or they'll fly into Nashville where I am, or we'll fly. We're talking about doing kind of an Asia exploration. Let's go do an exec offsite in Shanghai and learn more about this new market that that we might be able to make a dent in philanthropy in. So I think you can think more creatively about how you're getting together and how you're doing work. And it's just not that expensive. I mean, you're buying 5 people coach flights to get somewhere.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And if Delta will come through with the continued upgrades, they'll be.
I have to say, Levi, that would have been a good thing for me. None of that mattered.
Yeah,
I would have kept diamond status, and I probably would have weeded out some people.
You'd have a shorter
I would
wait
have
to
gotten more
get
upgrades.
Shorter wait for the croissant sandwich in the Sky Club. You'd have.
Oh my god!
I did. I'm at 86 flights this year. I think I'll hit 100 for the first time. I've been in the 90s before, but never 100.
Yeah. My high Delta year was 175 in 1 year.
Woo!
But now take with a grain of salt that I didn't live in New York City and I was connecting everywhere I went.
Yeah.
So that's, unless we were going to Salt Lake or Minneapolis, that was the.
Yeah.
But I also do think I took a few years off my life that year. That probably just 175 safety speeches alone. You can't live through all that.
My gosh.
Yeah. Okay, Scott, what about like optimization life, all the, like, how have you changed like diet, exercise? Obviously we talked about the Whoop. What are some new hacks that, cause you are just one of the most efficient human beings I know.
I don't feel like I'm that efficient. We really like where we live. I'm coaching baseball. My kid's in my 9-year-old's pitching. We just moved from coach pitch to kid pitch, which is an absolute disaster for the first 5 games of the year. And like kids can't throw friggin' strikes. It's like
my
the game is 21-19. And like, oh, did anybody get a hit? Nope. Just walked in 21 runs.
That's funny.
We've moved on now into the season. I think
That's
our last
hilarious.
we've had some 5-3 games, but no, I've had fun doing that. And, I think the rhythm is, I'm gone a lot, but I'm home a lot. That's funny. I was in San Diego, what was it, last week? And I had to make a speech, and it was on our family vacation. We were at our farm. And I was going to say no to it, but my wife's like, you should go. You should go and do this. It's a lot of people, and you should just go and do this. Well, I'm like, I want to do it in the minimum amount of time. So I woke up at our farm at 4:00. I was in the car at 4:30. I was at Newark at 7, parked my car, got on an 8:15 flight, flew to San Diego, had to kill 3 hours in a conference room before speech time. They didn't have a hotel room for me because the hotel was booked. Make the speech, go to the airport. And I realized I had about an hour and a half to kill at the airport. So I'm like, text Bob Goff. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're not in town, right? But I got a little time to kill. He's like, I'll be there in a minute. So like, I don't know, 6 minutes, he lives 5 minutes from the airport. So like, 6 minutes later, he turns up in like his car, and we just drive around and sit in the car for an hour. And he said something that that really kind of struck me is he encouraged me to move from a season of life where I'm always coming home, and the default is I feel like I'm away more, to it's almost a surprise when I'm leaving. It's like, oh, dad's got to go somewhere this weekend. Not, oh my gosh, dad might be home this weekend. So I think that's a future life change that I'm looking for. I will say, I'm really good at taking blocks of time off with the kids. So I don't work over Thanksgiving or Christmas much. We just had fall break, and we pulled our kids out of school Friday and Monday and Tuesday. And I had 12 days minus this one day where, I was 11 days just fully on with the family and not working, not taking emails, not taking calls. So it'd be fun to actually look at a balance of, I might spend more time than I think really being home, because you're always trying to get home. You're taking the red eye home. I did sleep 3.5 hours, like with my face on a tray table, landed in Newark at 4:40 a.m. and I was home at 7. I was like, this,
oh my God,
26 hour trip, round trip.
That's a little bit of a balance, because like that would be normally how I would have done trips for a long time, because like I got to get home, I want to minimize my time away.
Yeah.
Dallas Jenkins from The Chosen, he said something that was interesting. Now he's take it with a grain of salt. Not unlike us, his kids are all out of the house, empty except for one, empty nest, except for one high school student. But he said something. He said, I used to always do that to minimize my time away, but then Amanda realized, but the version of you that comes back after a trip like that is actually less than if you would just take one day and be on a beach in San Diego and come home the next day and be like awake and alive. So it's interesting
it's a tension. It's a real tension that needs to be met. Vic has 100% said that before. Like, you're useless off a red eye, or you're so grumpy off of a red eye. But you don't want to sit on a beach when your kids are coming home from school and want to play street hockey, or your daughter wants you to take the gym. So in a way, it's not relaxing for me. So I think that's the tension. That sounds great, but I'd be miserable on the beach for those extra 5 hours. And I don't know that I would come back much better knowing that I missed the life at home.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe the solution is you take a kid with you on the trip.
I've started doing that. Now that they're older. Yep. I just speak in Dallas, and it was, my kids have heard me speak a lot, and unlike you, there's a lot less variety in my talk. It changes about 10% depending on the audience, but it's, I've been kind of saying the same thing for 17 years.
Right.
People need water, and here's what we're doing about it. Will you please help?
Yep.
But this was a fun one. It was 10,000 people. It was in Dallas. It was at a stadium. And I thought, Jackson would enjoy it. And I have no problem pulling them out of school for 2 days. I think during COVID, we all learned what school was really like.
Honestly.
And, how much work was actually getting done during school, over looking at Zoom and what was happening. So, I pulled him out and I said, well, let's go a day early and let's go to Six Flags and let's buy the Fast Pass. So, we flew out a night early. The conference was happy to give me another night. And actually, I think I paid for it myself. So I paid for the other night in the hotel myself. We got up in the morning and we crushed Six Flags and bought the Fast Pass. And we just rode roller coasters all day.
You mean the Flash Pass?
Well, if you're going to go to an amusement park and you're going to spend the money to get yourself to an amusement park and pay for the ticket, if you don't pay for the ability to skip the ride,
yes,
I it's just bad time efficiency.
Yes, but they call it Flash Pass, not Fast Pass.
And Levi knows this because we did this
I think I'm
recently.
thinking about Dollywood. I think Dollywood is Fast Pass.
Calls it Fast Pass. The Six Flags universe,
Okay.
it's Flash Pass. So I don't mean to critique you. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Levi,
Whatever the
let's
thing
go.
is, where you're not sitting an hour in the heat in line,
Yes.
has always felt like the cheapest. Like, I don't know why they charge so little, because when you really do the math and you think about, my friends rode 4 rides over 10 hours and you're like, well, I rode 26.
I rode all of them. Yes.
In fact, what we were doing the last time, Jackson and I took our total cost of like ticket plus. Now I'm self-aware. Plus the pass, which has a name unique to that park,
but it shall not be named.
We were dividing, by ride, so I think we got it down to like $6 a ride.
Dang.
And
Because
you
we were
can do
just
it
going
so
so much.
quickly.
Anyway.
You can move through it so quick.
You can-
What was your
you can move
favorite ride? Did you guys like the Texas Giant?
We loved the Texas Giant. That was our favorite ride. I'll see
it's
you know this.
violent.
And we like the water one that kind of goes up.
Aquaman.
Aquaman was a blast. Anyway, it was 100 degrees, so we probably didn't even need the pass because nobody was there in 100 degrees. But then at the end of it, I'm like, well, let's go see Mission Impossible 5. And he'd never seen any of the Mission Impossibles. And I went on Common Sense Media, and I felt like he could handle a little bit of language. And a lot of, Tom Cruise taking that freaking bike off the cliff. And it was awesome. And then the next day, I woke up and I did the backstage and met the people, and he came in and saw me speak. And this was a particularly funny gig because the CEO of the company who had brought me there looked out at the audience of like 10,000 people, maybe 9,500 people or whatever. And he says, hey, listen, if you're willing to join the spring right now, do it on your phone. And then you can come up on stage and you can shake my hand and shake Scott's hand. Let's just say it was like the next hour.
Oh,
I mean, I think
gosh.
1,000 people came on the stage. So Jackson, who's sitting in the front row, my 9-year-old, he's first up and he wants to stand next to me and shake 1,000 hands.
Oh my God.
And by the end of it, like both of us were so sore. And I mean, there are 1,000 handshakes and there's a wide delta of people that think that they need to impress you with, how strong their hand is.
Yeah.
And then the limp, sweaty, like the 3 fingers. I mean, it was quite an experience for both of us. But for the next couple days, so he's a lefty, like his left hand and my right hand, like we're really like sore. I mean, almost to the point of X-ray.
That's a fascinating story.
I think the whole thing took close to an hour. So I think it was probably a terrible audience experience, watching 1,000 people, walk up and shake hands with 2 people on stage,
Right.
and a 9-year-old kid, and then having to push the whole program back an hour. But anyway, I was just thinking like that was probably better than 2 days in school.
But he will never forget that trip, Scott.
And I love that he wanted to shake people's hands.
He will never forget that trip. I love the physical soreness and the fact that he can say, I've shaken hands with 1,000 people. I mean, the Guinness Book of World Records for 70 years in this country was set by Teddy Roosevelt, who shook 8,510 hands on New Year's Day. And it stood for 70 years until the mayor of Atlantic City broke that just as a stunt. But that tradition, literally, it would cause physical pain. I mean, every American president used to shake hands on New Year's Day with any American that wanted to come by. Abraham Lincoln did it on the day he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, but he had to wait 2 hours to sign it because his hand was trembling so much from all the handshakes. And you
Wow,
know
that's cool.
what that actually
I'm going
feels
to tell
like.
him that Teddy. I'm going to tell him that Teddy Roosevelt story tonight. That's fantastic.
And the Lincoln story.
I love
That's
that you know
so
this,
interesting.
babe. I love it.
But I can't, like I've always
You don't
read about
you don't
that,
even
but to
have a
think of,
laptop in front of you. This is crazy.
It's in his brain.
You knew that by heart.
It's in his brain.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Well, it's a lot of handshakes, Scott. You are the man who shook hands with 1,000 men. How quick
And
did you run
women
for the
and
Germex?
children. And
How
children.
quick did you run for the Germex after that?
So I am not I'm not that guy. Like I turn it down on the plane. You know, sir, would you like your sanitary cloth? Although actually now they make decent screen wipes.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll take them if the laptop screen is dirty. I absolutely asked, is there any hand sanitizer around here for my son and I? Actually, no, because it was in the basement of like the big conference centers, one of those like grand halls with all the stuff. Like backstage for big concerts and stuff. Before we did anything else, we made a beeline to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And they actually had hand sanitizer outside of the bathroom and soap. So we started with the dispenser and then we doubled up with soap. And then I think I might have hit hand sanitizer on the way out as well, just for the third.
Yeah, because you touched a lot
And I'm
of
not
people.
that guy. Like
Right.
I actually have a really bad habit of biting my nails. And then my claim to fame in New York City for many years is I never got sick. I mean, I would never miss a day of work. You know, I would have the colds that we all get with the changing temperatures, but never anything took me down. And, my narrative was I basically bite my nails and ride the subways. So like, what a disgusting thing when you really think about it. I've been riding the subways of New York City for 26 years and then biting my nails while riding the subway. I mean, the germs that I don't even know if immune load or any of this is true, but it felt like it made sense. I've put so many germs into my body over time that, it's like, oh, you ain't seen nothing. This one comes in. No problem. Just handle that.
It's exposure therapy.
I love that you're admitting this. This is just wonderful.
Do you still bite your nails?
I do. It's a terrible habit. It's like I don't know.
There
was a book. There was a book, I think it was David Gellis or some New York Times writer did a book on habits. And it was actually, I forget the details, but he looked into nail biting and he found that it was often a lot of people, how they got themselves back into the present. And they wanted to kind of feel something that was tactile so that they wouldn't daydream or they wouldn't wander or they wouldn't kind of drift off into the future. Anyway, so I don't know that makes sense, but I thought there was some interesting science there of why do you do something that's just so dumb?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I don't think I've ever had to cut. So Lennox is 6. I don't think I've ever had to cut his nails because he has always bit his nails. I think starting when he was like 2, he's always bit his nails.
He will bite our nails if we let him. He'll literally
the
grab your
dog's nails,
hand.
like the dog. He's like, oh, you need.
No, it's true. Like he will. Like I told Levi, I was like, we need to cut your nail.
And Lennox was like, I'll do it. Get out of here, bro. You can't bite my nails. There's this stuff called Mavala, Mavala.
Oh, I've tried it all. It all. Oh,
you tried it all.
Yeah. So that broke one of our kids of thumb sucking. That Mavala stuff got Livy over the hump.
I'll just give myself a rash because I'll keep doing it. They have stuff that tastes gross. Then they have stuff that burns. I would fight through the pain and the discomfort.
You just love it
I'm gonna break myself of at some point. Maybe
just don't even worry about it. Yeah, and then you just in heaven, you're just or maybe you do in heaven.
Like, do you bite them down to like the nubs where it's like a problem kind of a thing?
Not gross bleeding, but just kind of a nervous tick.
Okay, let's do a little rapid fire, Scott. This is good. How about a little rapid fire? So reading a book, Kindle, Audible, physical book, or combination?
Audible. And this is really funny. Many people these days like to speed up books. I remember one of the founders of WeWork, Miguel, is a really good friend, not Adam, if those of you that saw We Crashed or any of that.
What a ride that show was.
He's the sympathetic WeWork founder and good friend, has been to Africa with me, very generous to us. And he said, I listened to your book. I think it was at 2x speed or like 1.75. Oh, and I just remember being like so sad. Like, I sat in a studio for a week. I put in my contract that I needed to record my own Audible. And, he's like, so I slow it down to 0.9. And I was just with Bobby Grunwald of the Bible app of YouVersion. And I was like, Bobby, it really bothers me that there's not a slower version of the Bible, or it's too slow. It's like 0.5. Well, nobody wants to do that. 0.75, full speed, or then fast. So my sweet spot, which Audible allows, is 0.9 or sometimes 0.95, depending on the cadence. So I wanted a little slower to just take it in and to absorb it. But it's almost always audible.
I've never heard anybody say that. When are you most likely to listen? When do you throw a book on in the day?
I used to joke that at night, I probably heard the same Tim Keller sermon 75 to 100 times, and I couldn't tell you a single thing he said past like the opening 10 minutes. So I'll admit, sometimes I go to sleep listening to an audiobook and don't often make it very far. And then in cars and in transit. So I for sure on planes, I'm a big advocate. I have this one pair of Sony headphones, which I love. So Whoop, Vore, and Sony headphones. I'm not wearing them now. This is part of the podcast kit, but they are expensive. They are super soft. And the noise canceling is unbelievable. So I will go into kind of an audio book hole. I was just listening to the Sam Bankman-Fried, Michael Lewis book, and I got halfway through it on the way to San Diego, and you're kind of caught up in a great story. And that helps me focus, noise canceling headphones, and I'm just kind of tuning everything else out.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you set the sleep thing when you're going to go to sleep too? Because you can set to where it turns off at 2:30 or whatever.
Yep, I do.
Okay,
what was the tip? To save battery.
What was the Tim Keller sermon? Which one was that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he had the app, or he just had the most soothing voice, and he could put me to sleep faster than any teacher in the world.
Do you ever go visit a Redeemer in the midst of all that going on when it was at the heyday when he was still there?
I did. If I'm honest, I remember a lot of khakis.
Gotcha.
I remember it was very beige.
Was he preaching though? Did you get to hear him preach in person?
He was. I kind of remember like it was in Hunter College, and it was in a college auditorium, and there was a jazz band up there. Sure. And then a lot of beige and a lot of khakis and loafers. And then, he would give this unbelievable 25-minute, 3-point sermon.
Wow.
So the whole package didn't quite work for, a reformed nightclub promoter who was trying to, find my way back to faith.
Right.
But he really worked.
He worked.
Reason for God worked. And it was a really important kind of teacher at a time in my life. And I think he worked so well because at least when I was coming back to faith at 28, it was a reminder that you don't need to check your intellect, that it's not just idiots that are Christians. And he would really speak to that, Upper East Side intellectual and say, actually, there's a lot of smart subtext here. There's a lot to be discovered.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be mined and explored. Maybe less the inspirational sermon that was just, like he would exegete the Bible, as people know. So I was a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
I think John Tyson, and you do a great job at this. I mean, there's some John Mark Comer. There's some people who are kind of young guns that are following in his footsteps, and I think they're having a lot of success because that resonates with people.
Yeah.
Give us some actual meat, help us think about something in a way that we never thought about it before and help us relate it to our current life or our current practices.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good. What about anything, new hobby, anything you personally for your wellness? I know you're a big walker. I'm still doing that?
A lot of pickleball. I mean, see, I'm old now. I'm almost 50. This is what you do. Yeah. I go out there. I go out there with knee braces. Wow. I have 2 torn meniscus and they're not quite bad enough for me to want to get the surgery. So I go out there with old man knee braces. And I mean, my wife, she just thinks it's so ugly. And then I have like pickleball and racquetball sneakers. Like I have this old man gear, but I'm really competitive. I mean, I like to play and I like to win. and I've always been pretty good at racket sports. So now that the weather's a little colder, I can wear my knee braces under my Vuori pants, which I did yesterday or the day before. So now nobody knows I'm wearing the old man knee braces. And I've got these, wonderful performance joggers. So I play a lot of pickleball and ping pong. My son's getting competitive at 9 now.
Oh, that's so fun to play with your kids. But that's probably some of the mind game going into a match, like making people think like, oh, what's this old guy gonna do?
Let him see the knee braces. Let him fear you. Let him think you're no big threat.
I'm not gonna lie. I started out with like the really cheap pickleball paddles, and then somebody let me borrow a nice one. I'm like, oh, screw it. I'm just gonna buy the $150 Ben Hogan on Amazon.
Carbon fiber.
And, and of course, like you buy it on Amazon and it comes, 22 minutes later in time for like the game that you were thinking about playing an hour later.
Wow.
If you don't live in Montana,
right.
Okay, our
That's
Amazon
true.
takes like 6 days up here.
If we're lucky.
It is not, and it really has slowed down. I will say this, it has not, from my perspective in Montana, rebounded from the slowdown after COVID. I feel like the Amazon is still kind of on a journey. Is this fair to say?
We're pretty fast here. We're scary fast.
Scott, we've loved this time. Tell people where they can go if they want to get on the spring subscription, start being a part like we are as a family and we are at Fresh Life of being a part of what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Thespring.com is a great place to start. There's a video in there of our story. It's gotten over 100 million views across different platforms. And so if you've never heard of us before or you're interested, go to thespring.com and we'd love the support.
We think it's amazing. We really do, as a family, want to go and see a water project at some point. That's been something we've talked about before. We would love our kids to see that and get to see firsthand. Yeah. But we believe in it. I mean, I've looked into it thoroughly. Not only are you guys breathing such a fresh breath of air into how nonprofits can work and how it can all feel, but I mean, not one of us on the planet can say we don't want everyone on earth to have access to clean water.
Right.
And for people to get that experience. We've watched some of these videos. We've been to the gala, watched the footage of these wells being turned on. It's like it feels like the greatest joy of Christmas on earth to know that you're a part of that on some level.
Absolutely.
So I really do hope every Lusketeer out there will, if you have not, consider making this new year. Of course, people are listening to this. It's first quarter of 2024. Make the spring a part of this new year. You're all making New Year's resolutions, and make this a part of this new year. And you'll get to see at the end of this year what you're part of. You guys do better than anybody a job of communicating to people about what their project is. They'll get GPS coordinates. They'll get the ability to see when it kind of turns on, right, Scott?
Yeah. And I'll just say, just as people are kind of thinking about that. So every $40 gets one person access to clean water. So we have people that get $40 a month, which is now less than 2 Netflixes a month. Right. We have some people that give $20 a month, and every 2 months, one human being gets access to clean water, as 100% of that 20 or 40 a month, travels directly now to 21 different countries. And helps people get water. So yeah, I'm really passionate about the spring, and I think it's it's the way that we can continue to make a bigger impact, just powered by everyday people who can look at all of these paralyzing global issues and look at all this suffering and reject the apathy. That's so easy to accept with any of this and say, I could do something. Yeah. I could do $20 a month. Yep. I could go cancel some subscription that I just really don't even use.
Which, pro tip, go to Apple. If you do Apple, go to your settings, search for subscription in the settings. It will show you every subscription Apple's enabled.
They don't make it easy.
No, it's pretty easy. Apple does a good job.
Once you find it, you got to find it.
Once you find it.
So if you hit the gear icon, then drag down, there's a search box. You just type in subscriptions. And then I found this the other day, it pulls up every subscription. You can cancel them from right there. So maybe the action item today is go in there and see which one you don't need anymore. Okay, until the Bear season 4 comes out, you don't need this Hulu, so get rid of that one. It's like I only get them back when there's a show I want again.
That is awesome.
And in the meantime, get on the spring. Scott, how many people are on the spring right now?
About 65,000 people across 149 countries.
Wow. And again, I have some of these stats here. There's 740 million total raised. You guys have done 137,000 water projects in 29 countries. 17.4 million people will, when these projects are done, have the water. How many projects will it take for this problem to be done?
You know, it's a lot of money. Let's call it north of $100 billion. Some people have pegged the entire global problem at $130 billion, which sounds like a lot of money until you start looking at stuff that we spend money on.
Right.
As a reminder, I mentioned this earlier, but during COVID, we had a couple stimulus bills. You know, at one time, we printed $1 trillion of new money, and then we gave it to people. So 13% of that, of one of those printings, could have gotten everybody on Earth access to clean water.
Wow.
Now you've got to build up the infrastructure and the ability to go and implement it. And you know, right now there wouldn't be enough drilling rigs or enough teams to get that done. But it really starts with the resources being mobilized. I think it really starts with the will and the movement and the energy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy, y'all, that we're sitting here and, you know, Elon Musk is looking for water on a planet 142 million miles away. And, you know, as those rockets go up, they look down on a planet where 10% of the world lives without the most basic need, lives without water. So, you know, we know how to solve the problem. We have not said we are going to solve the problem, and we haven't mobilized the resources. And that's what, you know, Chairty Water in year 17 is, you know, we're going to try and knock out another 2 million people with water this year, but really try to build more advocates, more energy, more animation at a global level to actually get this done.
Yeah. Well, God bless you for what you're doing, Scott.
We love you guys. We love you and Vic, and so appreciate you guys.
It's fun. Next time I'm out there, you better not be out of town.
Yeah, right. Well, let's do it. I love you, buddy. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to swing by levilusko.com and jennielusko.com to see what's going on in our world.
And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And in the meantime, we would love to connect with you on social media.
Jennie and Levi Lusko out.
Access more